What's up everyone, some guy here with another Alliance War video. Season 24, war number 11, almost at the end of the season here. We are versing against Pycb. We have faced them before 2 seasons ago. It was a very close war. We lost by like 2 attack bonuses. So we are hoping to get the revenge this war. But going on path 5 here, our first fight is this Rhino on Ebb and Flow Knockdown. I usually don't see him on this path. Usually he's on in the place on the second section with the Ebb and Flow Knockdown. So this is a very easy Quake fight. Again, just like all Ebb and Flow Knockdown Quake fights, you just gotta knock them down while they're stunned and concussed to shut down the protection. And from there on, it's a very simple Quake and Shake fight. This Rhino is pretty beefy in terms of his physical resistance. I didn't check his sig level, but I think he's pretty up there since this fight does take a little bit longer than usual, even after the protection gets shut down. So yeah, I'm not used to that usually. I think within like a minute or a minute and a half, any opponents on this node is usually down by now, usually with the protection down. But yeah, this fight did take a little bit longer than usual, but as you can see, with the protection down, it's very easy to Quake. With the protection up, it's a little bit risky with timing out, especially when you're in the second section. But yeah, not a problem for Quake. Going to the second fight here, we have this Hit Monkey on Ebb and Flow Knockdown and Heavy Hitter, another very common placement for him. Hit Monkey hits very, very hard. He can crit very hard and pretty much kill you in one combo. But he has a pretty low health pool. I will be using Guillotine 2099 to ramp her up for this fight just because he has a fairly low health pool. I don't plan on knocking him down or shutting down the protection, so I'm just going to take this fight with the protection up. Guillotine 2099 will start hitting pretty hard once you get her combo up, so I wasn't too worried about timing out or anything. I was mainly worried about getting clipped by him or losing my combo. If I lose my combo, then I may be in the risk of timing out just because Guillotine doesn't hit that hard before she's ramped up. This is a pretty long fight. Usually the first fight, the ramp up fight for Guillotine is always very, very long and boring. I try to use the SP3s to get my combo up higher and also manage Hit Monkey's power a little bit to push him to like more than a bar power. I do want to keep him below 2 bars of power. I can fully evade the SP2, but I don't want to risk it in war, especially when I'm trying to ramp up Guillotine. The SP2 can hit really hard if you do get clipped by it. It's a lot of hits, and it can probably not kill you if you don't fully dex it. So not worth the block damage and the risk of it. So I just decided to try and push Hit Monkey to SP1s and just bait those out and retaliate. It's pretty easy to retaliate. You just got to be a little bit early on it. If you're a little bit late on the retaliate, then you can get parried by him, which is not good. I have had that happen before during the early years when he first came out, so I did learn my lesson here. Yeah, but I'm basically always pushing him to a bar power to manage power. Right here, he's a little bit above 50%, so I do decide to throw my SP3. I think I still have enough to get myself back up to an SP3, although it's a little bit risky since Guillotine does start hitting pretty hard when she gets her combos up. So he'll drop that 50% here. He will drop pretty fast. But I do manage to get my power meter just up to SP3 before I kill Hit Monkey. So a little bit risky. If he was a 5-star, I think I might have just held on to my SP3 just in case. But worst case scenario, I could keep parrying to get more power that way, but it's not desirable just because you're gonna drag the fight longer, and longer fights means more risk into making mistakes, so I don't want that to happen. I do a lot of light intercepts with Guillotine just because her light intercepts have a very far reach, so most of the time it's pretty safe to light intercept with Guillotine. I do love that about her. That's probably one of my favorite champs in the game at the moment. Guillotine, she just hits so hard once she's ramped up. The energy damage is just like a lot of fun. So right now I am trying to get him to throw the SP1. He was being a little bit stubborn earlier, but he does throw it. So I do end up finishing with the SP3 here just in time. So now Guillotine's all ramped up, and yes, I will be using her to take the boss. Alright, moving to the next fight here, we have this Longshot Power Snack and Backup Recovery. Very safe Torch fight. Most Mystic opponents are very safe for Torch or good counter for Torch. or Torch is a good counter for them. Basically for this fight, I'm just trying to build up my smolders and temperature to get more damage at the start. The only thing I have to remember basically is to not try to dex as much. I'm pretty sure the opponent will be running high Mystic Dispersion, so I don't want to push him to an SP2. I can evade it, but like I said, I don't want to risk it in war, so I'm just going to be baiting out his SP1s and trying pairing them as well and not trigger any dex, so I don't trigger any power snack. I also got to remember about backup recovery. That's one thing that I often forget for this node, just because it always happens in the middle of the fight and you kind of forget like when you're in fighting against it. So you always have to keep it in the back of your mind that backup recovery exists, and you have to make sure you manage their power right before they get to the 50%. Luckily, I was able to do that, and he does go down very quickly. I don't know why I dropped the SP3 here. I probably could have just waited or just combo him and he would have died, but I just hit the SP3 out of habit, I guess. So the next morning I woke up and looked at the score, and it didn't look too good. Our opponents pretty much already cleared our map, and they died about 16 times, and we still have about 23 fights to go, and we died about only one times less than them. So we have to basically clear the rest of the map without dying in order for us to win. So it's a little bit of pressure on us, but the ball is in our court, and it's for us to take it and win. So I am taking section 2 and section 3 all together in one go. I am going to boost up big here just for the boss fight as well, and plus Quake needs it for ebb and flow intercepts, since I don't plan on shutting down the node. Quake is very good for Mephisto just because she doesn't actually hit him, so she will never trigger his aura or his incinerates, and he will never gain any power. Quake also shuts down Mephisto's regen at the end. The regen texts will pop up, but he won't actually be regenning. Concussion does shut that down. So it's a very simple quick and shake fight. Alright, moving to the next fight here, we have the Sasquatch on Ebb and Flow Intercept and Readable Determination. This is where I saved Human Torch's pre-fight for, since Nova Flames are not considered debuffs, so it won't trigger any of the Readable Determination. Plan here is just to get some intercepts in to shut down the protection and do a lot of damage. But even without the even with the protection up, the Nova Flame still does a lot of damage. I thought about not punishing Sasquatch's SP1 just because it kind of sometimes is a little bit risky if you're a little bit late on it, but I thought the timing was just right, so I decided to go for it anyway, and it all worked out. But yeah, this fight goes very well. As you can see, just with some intercepts, and his Nova Flames just melts, and the Power Sting just literally melts Sasquatch very, very quickly. And he just drops at the end here. So very, very safe Torch fight. Like I said, all Mystic fights are very good for Torch. But moving on to the third section here, we have this Juggernaut. This is actually a rank 3 Juggernaut. I've probably never seen one before, but yeah, it is placed on the Brute Force and Spry and Limber. Our Alliance mate was able to throw on the White Magneto pre-fight. This is just an extra attack bonus for us, kind of like a boost. I did watch Monash's video, and he was able to, basically I learned that you can Quake class advantage. If you have class advantage here, you can Quake him, because with the class advantage, Brute Force only lets you drop down to about 50% health, and Quake's definitely still usable at 50%. However, for any other champs without class advantage, Quake will drop down with the combat region. boost, I think you'll get Quake to about 11 to 15% or so, and that is within the assassin's range, so that's not safe for Quake. But yeah, any Mystic here is very good for Quake. Quake can just bypass the node altogether after the brute force timer ends, and from there on it's very easy quick and shake fight, and you don't ever hit into him. Oh yeah, the risk is not accidentally dropping a heavy. If you accidentally drop a heavy, you will probably trigger brute force again, so that's one thing you have to look out for. All right, we're finally at the boss fight here. This is a rank 3 Apocalypse. I was just checking the score to make sure we are still ahead at the moment, and we are. So right now Guillotine is ramped up, and the pre-fight dip, White Mag pre-fight dip place on Apoco, so I do get the extra attack bonus. I was afraid that 45% attack was going to be a little bit too much for Guillotine, and she might trigger Protect too much, but I was planning on intercepting anyway, and I didn't think it would trigger, and it doesn't, so which is nice. So plan here is just basically do a lot of intercepts and then finish my combo early to bait his heavy attack or second medium, so I can go in for an opening and push him to an SP2. I am pretty good at dexing, fully dexing his SP2, so that's the game plan here. I can fully dex his SP1, but I just don't think it's reliable enough for me to do it in war. I just don't want to risk it. And I do manage his power pretty well here. Most of the time I just make sure I get myself to an SP2 and also get Apocalypse to an SP2. I don't want to push myself to an SP3 just because it is nice, but it doesn't hit that, it doesn't do that many combo, and I just want to ramp up my combo as fast as I can to do more damage and to finish the fight faster. You know, the faster you're in the fight, the less risk there are. So yeah, push Apocalypse to SP2, bait it out, fully dex it, and go and retaliate. And then do the light intercepts. Like I said, Guillotine's light intercepts is a very far reach, so you're able to safely do so most of the time. I've actually had videos of me doing light intercepts while he has a bar of power, and you can still you still have time to evade the first hit of his SP1 if he does decide to throw it while you're in the middle of the light intercept, and it doesn't actually reach you. So it's very safe for Guillotine to use her light intercepts. Of course, I'm not going to do that in war. I'm going to finish my combo early and bait out his heavy and second medium just to make sure I don't get hit. And so, but yeah, this fight's going very well. My health is still very, very high. I was always afraid that 5-star Guillotine might not be enough just because she doesn't have the luxury of the 6-star Adrenaline. But as you can see here, 5-star can very much do the solo as well. You just got to play a lot of intercepts and push the Apocalypse to SP2, and I finished with about 75% health. I think this is the highest amount of health I've finished with Guillotine soloing the Apocalypse boss. So yeah, pretty proud of myself there. But yeah, so our battle group still has a few more fights to finish, so we're just waiting for that. But an hour later, our battle group did finish, and we actually give up 0 death, another 50-0, 2 in a row here. So very proud of our battle group. 3 in total, but the second one in a row. So so at this point, the chat does get kind of interesting. So as you can see here, they finished very early on, pretty much all 3 battle groups. So this guy says, thanks guys, kind of like, thanks for giving us the win. And then once we started catching up, like basically we have one more fight to go and we are ahead in war. So they started accusing us of like mods and stuff, so that wasn't really cool. But yeah, I think people start usually accusing of other people once they start losing, maybe, I don't know. But we definitely are legit. Unfortunately, our last fight, we did not end up soloing it. Our member just boosted up too big and was triggering Protect too much. So at this point, they started begging us to kind of lose and throw the game on purpose just so they can win. I'm not sure why they were begging us to lose, especially when you look at the war standings. They're actually 1 spot ahead of us in Plat 1. I don't know why they want us to throw the war just so we don't tie. They say we can't win, but yeah, I mean, we don't want to lose, you know. But yeah, Zero is pretty funny here saying that we probably would have considered it if they haven't accused us. But yeah, I agree. And then he said no mercy, and then he finished the boss fight. So yeah, we did end up tying this war, which is kind of unfortunate. It was very close to winning, but I was still very proud of our alliance because we held up together at the very end here and just kept going, and it was very close. We almost had the win. So yeah, it's a tie. Unfortunately for us, we do get a plus for our war rating, which is nice. But it does drop us a little bit lower here in the Plat 1. I think they only dropped about 1 spot, or I think they might have even stayed the same spot. But this actually does give us to tier 1. multiply times 8 for the next war. So that's probably the best thing that happened for a tie here for us. But yeah, hopefully we're able to carry that on and finish the season with a tier 1 so we can start the next season tier 1 and get some good points. But yeah, that is it from me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.